Are you feeling optimistic about what the future holds with AI or a little unsettled? I think a lot about that. Not long ago, I was reading a study by professors from Princeton, UPenn, and NYU that listed the industries most likely to be disrupted by AI. Near the top was education. AI is not just improving a few tools around the edges, it's beginning to reshape entire professions. For those of us in education, that can feel unsettling. It can make you wonder whether the work you've dedicated your life to is about to be reduced or replaced. I'm not here to deny the disruption. I'm here to argue that this moment gives us something better. It gives us a chance to recover the true purpose of teaching. You've probably heard the phrase, you won't lose your job to AI. You'll lose your job to someone who uses AI. I recently saw a meme that made me think about this a little differently. It showed a farmer talking to his horse with a tractor in the background. The caption read, "You won't lose your job to a tractor. You'll lose your job to horses that learn to drive tractors." It's funny, but it reveals something important. Once the tractor arrived, the farm was no longer built around horsepower. The purpose of the horse's role on the farm had to change. That's the real impact of AI on education, and it changes the questions we need to ask. The question is not simply whether AI will affect education and teaching. It already has, and it will continue to. The real question is this: will we keep defining teaching the same way we always have, or will we use this moment to make it better? I had a chance to test this in a real setting. A couple years ago, we launched a program that brought together business, engineering, and design students and gave them a radically different learning experience, one that elevated AI and completely changed my role as a teacher. They spent an entire year building a business and earned 18 credits towards graduation. There were no traditional classes, no artificial deadlines, no synchronized exams, and no lectures in the usual sense. The marketplace became their curriculum. Their learning was shaped by customer interviews, failed assumptions, hard feedback, and iterations. And importantly, AI handled much of what we traditionally associate with teaching. Students had on-demand explanations, analysis, and feedback loops. And AI had to be also adaptive because even though the students were working towards similar outcomes, they did not have the same questions, the same timing, or the same gaps. One student needed help with interviews, another needed pricing support, another needed pitch structures. And they needed those things at different moments. AI met them where they were at, which meant our role as educators got to change too. We shifted from delivering content to developing people. We focused on judgment, resilience, coaching through uncertainty, helping students make better decisions when the answers was not obvious. And learning became more real. But here's something interesting that we learned. The institution's response was something very revealing. Administration, for example, asked for a syllabus, and I understand why. The system required it. But it felt like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. They were trying to fit a learning and development experience into a system designed for standardization. Because the truth was, the syllabus was whatever the customer demanded that week. The curriculum was failure, feedback, and figuring it out. A syllabus for the course might read something like Week 1, existential dread. Week 4, customer says no again. Week 8, pivot or perish. And yet, inside the program, the outcomes were undeniable. Students came in polished, capable, and well-trained in how to perform in a traditional school system, but performance and development are not the same thing. One student built a product and watched it fail in real time in front of a customer. In a traditional course, that failure might have been a case write-up and a decent grade. In this program, it became a turning point. We worked through the real questions. What were your assumptions? What did reality teach you? What are you going to do next? He pivoted again and again, and by the end of the year, he had built something meaningful. But more importantly, he had become more resilient, more perceptive, and more grounded. His confidence was not awarded by the institution. It was earned through contact with reality. And I saw that pattern again and again. Students weren't just learning, they were becoming more capable human beings. That experience forced me to ask deeper questions. If AI can increasingly handle explanation, repetition, and feedback loops, then what is essential about teaching? If teaching is lecturing and content delivery, AI can do that better and on demand. And like the tractor, it will continue to absorb more and more of that type of work. So we need to ask whether we've confused the mechanics of teaching with the purpose of teaching. I do not believe the purpose of teaching was ever just content delivery. But institutions, accreditors, and regulators increasingly defined it that way. Coverage became the goal, pacing became the goal, testing became the goal, because those things were easy to memorize, or those things were easy to measure. Human development is not. I believe the core of teaching has always been human development, helping students build judgment under uncertainty, strengthening character through challenges, seeing potential in them before they can see it in themselves. That does not fit nicely into a standardized exam. Some learners need 1 attempt, some need 10, some need more clarity, some need courage, most need all of those. If you think of the teacher who had the greatest impact on your life, they did not just deliver content, they changed how you saw yourself. So when technology like AI exposes the limits of the system, our roles must be redefined and the system itself must be redesigned. Otherwise, we will ask teachers to compete with machines at the exact tasks the machines are built to do. And we will keep forcing human development into systems that were never designed to support it. So what do we do? First, stop measuring success by coverage. The goal should never be to finish the syllabus. The goal should be to transform the students. Students can get coverage with the help of AI. What they can't get from AI alone is someone who sees who they could become and helps them grow into it. Second, let go of the assumption that every student must learn on the same timeline. With AI supporting individualized pathways, we can design for mastery and momentum, not seat time and compliance. I had a professor who used to ask, when you go to the doctor, do you ask whether they are an A doctor or a C doctor? Because C's get degrees. I understand the point, but I think the difference between an A and a C is often less about ability than we admit. It is often about time, support, and the path available to the learners. We need a system that stops confusing pace with potential. And finally, we need to redefine the teacher's role in practice. Use AI to remove the mechanical burdens so educators can spend more time on coaching, challenging, reflecting, and mentoring. My father once taught me the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. AI is becoming increasingly good at knowledge. Education at its best is about forming wisdom. What to do, when to do it, why it matters, and who you are becoming as you do it. So I don't think the right response to AI is panic. I think the right response is honesty and courage. Honesty that the system is changing, courage to admit the role must change too. If we define teaching by the old mechanics, we will watch those mechanics get automated. But if we define teaching by human development, this moment becomes an extraordinary opportunity, an opportunity to build education around human potential instead of institutional constraints. It will be the moment teaching became more important than ever, because in a world full of intelligent machines, the most important work will still be helping people become who they are meant to be. Thank you.